Welcome, miladies of inestimable value. Not all storms come to disrupt your life. Some come to clear your path. That's the energy of a Sigma woman. She's a force of nature, leaving people simultaneously in awe and on edge. With a fierce independence that refuses to cater to anyone's expectations, she often seems like an enigma, daringly uninterested in fitting into any mold. And let's face it, a Sigma woman's presence doesn't just walk into a room, it commands it. Here's a fact. Studies show that people often feel uneasy around those who don't seek approval or affirmation from others. Why? Because it's a reminder of how much control they're willing to give away, and how rare it is to see someone who just doesn't care. A Sigma woman doesn't rely on anyone to validate her worth, and that alone is intimidating. If you're picturing a woman who can be deeply engaging one minute and just as easily be miles away the next, then you're on the right track. She's magnetic, blunt, and lives by her own rules. And that combination? Terrifyingly refreshing. Buckle up, because we're about to dive into why Sigma women are, hands down, the most intimidating of them all. Number 1. Unapologetically selective, Sigma. Women don't just let anyone into their lives, and that's not a mystery. They're unapologetically selective. They aren't looking for just anyone to fill a space. They're looking for depth, integrity, and real value in the people around them. It's not that they're picky because they think they're too good. It's because they know they're better off without anyone who doesn't bring something meaningful to the table. The result? They've become experts at weeding out time wasters, energy drainers, and anyone trying too hard to make an impression. If you've ever tried to impress a Sigma woman with superficial charm, it probably felt like talking to a wall. Flattery doesn't faze her. Bragging? She's already tuned out. She's not interested in the show. She's looking for substance and has little tolerance for anything else. Sigma women value quality over quantity when it comes to relationships. They'd rather have a few solid, genuine connections than be surrounded by people who don't really know them. And yes, that means she can be a bit intimidating. Most people want to be liked by everyone, but she couldn't care less if only a handful of people understand her. It's like she's the bouncer to her own life, and she doesn't give out VIP passes easily. What's truly unnerving is that Sigma women can be kind and warm, but will still keep a certain distance. They might like you, even respect you, but that doesn't mean you're in. It's this unpredictability that keeps people guessing. She values her own space and guards it fiercely. It's nothing personal. It's just that she won't settle for less than real. And if you're not ready for that, well, she's fine with it. Number 2, unshakable moral compass. Sigma. Women live by their own moral compass, and it's set in stone. They have a clear sense of what they believe is right and wrong, and they stick to it, even if it makes things harder. While some people adjust their values depending on what's convenient, a Sigma woman won't budge. She doesn't cut corners or bend her ethics just to make life easier or to win people over. And that level of integrity? It's rare, sometimes even unnerving. People around her often find this trait intimidating because it's a reminder of what's possible when someone truly commits to their principles. She doesn't just talk about honesty, loyalty, or fairness, she lives it. She's not afraid to call out hypocrisy or injustice, even when it's uncomfortable or unpopular. If there's a moral gray area, she'll hold her ground and refuse to take the easy way out. It's like she's allergic to compromise when it comes to her beliefs, and that can be unsettling to those who aren't as solid in their own values. What's fascinating, though, is that she doesn't impose her standards on others. She doesn't preach, judge, or push people to follow her code. She lets people be who they are, but she'll quietly and firmly keep her own path. It's this mix of strict self-guidance and respect for others' choices that makes her so captivating and a bit intimidating. People know they can't manipulate or sway her easily because she won't betray herself for anyone's approval. It's like she's mastered the art of moral self-respect, and she's entirely unapologetic about it. In a world where people often bend their values like yoga poses, a Sigma woman's unshakable ethics can feel almost rebellious. Number 3, detachment from conventional success. Sigma women don't buy into society's checklist for success. You know the one: big job title, fancy car, loads of social followers, a life that looks good on paper. To a Sigma woman, those things are just fluff. She's not chasing status or trying to impress anyone, and that's what throws people off. While everyone else is trying to make it in the traditional sense, she's more interested in what feels right for her, not what looks right to the world. She has her own definition of success, and it rarely lines up with the usual trophies. It's not that she's lazy or lacking ambition, far from it. Sigma women are fiercely driven, but it's toward personal fulfillment, not applause. If a promotion doesn't align with her values or goals, she won't think twice about passing it up, even if it shocks everyone around her. And if she needs a break to recharge or explore a passion, she'll take it, even if it means pressing pause on what others might call progress. She values the quality of her experiences over the quantity of her achievements. People often find this intimidating because it's baffling to watch someone who isn't in a constant race to keep up with everyone else. It's like she's living in a completely different reality, one where approval from others just doesn't factor in. And when people try to impress her with the usual status symbols, she's unfazed. Flashy cars, prestigious jobs, social media clout, it all rolls off her like water off a duck's back. The Sigma woman's detachment from conventional success isn't about rebellion. It's about staying true to what matters to her. She's not motivated by what people think she should want, and that self-assuredness can make everyone around her question their own goals. Number 4, unwavering self-respect. No excuses needed. Sigma, women don't waste time justifying their standards or explaining their choices. They know who they are and what they stand for, and they don't need to provide a lengthy explanation to anyone. Whether it's in their personal life, career, or interactions with others, they hold themselves to an unshakable standard of self-respect. This means they're not going to tolerate disrespect, compromise their boundaries, or settle for less than what they believe they deserve. And here's the thing, they don't owe anyone an explanation for this. They don't need anyone's approval to affirm their worth, and that kind of unapologetic self-assurance is incredibly rare and intimidating. Most people are caught in the endless loop of seeking validation from others, trying to fit into molds and constantly wondering if they're making the right choices. A Sigma woman, however, moves through life with an unwavering confidence in her own decisions. She doesn't need anyone to understand her path because she understands it herself. If someone questions her, she doesn't get defensive or explain herself. She simply remains firm in her conviction. This level of self-respect can make others feel uneasy because it forces them to confront the ways in which they might doubt themselves or rely too much on external opinions. It's a rare quality, this complete assurance in one's own value, and it's disarming. People might find themselves taken aback by how effortlessly a Sigma woman maintains her standards without ever backing down or making excuses. She doesn't need to justify her worth or decisions to anyone. And in a world where people constantly feel the need to justify themselves, that kind of strength is both powerful and intimidating. She is the living proof that you can stand tall in your own truth, without needing anyone else to validate your worth. Number 5, exceptional ability to see through people. Sigma women have a gift for seeing through people, and it's not just about reading the obvious cues. They pick up on the subtle stuff, the hidden intentions, the unsaid words, and the quiet hints of authenticity, or lack thereof. When a Sigma woman interacts with someone, she's not just hearing the words coming out of their mouth, she's also noticing the tone, the body language, the slight hesitation. She has this almost unnerving ability to put the puzzle together and see what's really going on beneath the surface. This perceptiveness can throw people off, especially if they're used to hiding behind a facade. With a Sigma woman, there's no point in trying to mask your motives or put on an act. She can spot insincerity a mile away, and she has zero tolerance for it. This makes her intimidating because most people rely on some level of social camouflage in their daily lives. Around her, that camouflage doesn't stand a chance. It's like trying to hide a secret from someone who has the answers printed on the back of the book. And the kicker, she doesn't usually say anything about it. Sigma women don't feel the need to confront people directly or make a scene. She'll observe, make her mental notes, and quietly decide whether someone is worth her time. She's not going to call you out every time she catches a hint of dishonesty or fake flattery. She'll simply adjust her level of trust accordingly. Her ability to read people so easily can be unnerving because it's rare to meet someone who's genuinely immune to pretense. For people who are used to charming their way into good graces, she's like a human lie detector, and there's no off switch. Number 6, intense focus and single-mindedness. When a Sigma woman decides to pursue something, she brings a focus that's almost scary. It's like she locks onto her goal with laser precision, shutting out distractions and fully immersing herself until she gets what she's after. This kind of intense drive can be intimidating, especially in a world where most people get sidetracked by every ping of their phone or new trend. Her dedication is so relentless that it often catches people off guard. They're left wondering how she manages to cut through the noise and zero in so completely. What's unique about her focus is that it doesn't require an audience. She doesn't need people cheering her on or checking in on her progress. She's completely self-driven and doesn't wait for anyone to give her a pat on the back. It's the opposite of today's culture of constant updates and look-at-me moments. While everyone else is busy announcing their every move on social media, she's quietly grinding away, uninterested in applause or validation. Then, suddenly, she's done. She's achieved her goal while others are still just talking about theirs. This single-mindedness can feel unnerving to those who are used to a more laid-back approach. For a Sigma woman, there's no "I'll get to it eventually." If she decides something is worth her time, she's all in. People around her often feel a mix of awe and discomfort because her commitment highlights their own distractions and procrastination. And here's the kicker. She doesn't expect anyone to match her level of focus. She's not competing or trying to prove anything. She's just genuinely committed to her own path. The only challenge for others? Trying not to feel lazy when they see her fierce, unyielding drive. Number 7, refuses to play social games. Sigma women don't do social games. The gossip, the cliques, the subtle power plays. She's simply not interested. It's not that she's oblivious to them. She sees them happening around her all the time. She just chooses not to play along. While some people thrive on social dynamics and knowing who's in and who's out, she can't be bothered with that kind of drama. Her focus is on authenticity, not appearances, so she sees no point in keeping up with the small talk and superficial networking that others rely on. This makes her both intriguing and intimidating. People often don't know how to handle someone who's so immune to social pressures. When others are jockeying for attention or approval, a Sigma woman is off in her own world, completely unaffected by the usual hierarchy. She won't flatter people just to get ahead, and she's not interested in cozying up to anyone for her own gain. She treats everyone the same, from the highest executive to the intern, because she's genuinely uninterested in status or clout. When she's in a group, it's easy to sense her detachment from the usual social politics, and it can be unnerving. In a room where people are sizing each other up, she's quietly going about her business, free from the need to impress or outshine anyone. Her attitude says, "I'm here on my terms," and that can make others feel uncomfortable. There's no way to sway or influence her through typical social tactics because she doesn't care about winning people over. Her refusal to play the game is what makes her so powerful. She's simply herself, whether you like it or not. And that kind of confidence, one that doesn't bend to social expectations, is rare. For many, her authenticity feels like a wake-up call, forcing them to question why they've been playing the game at all. Number 8, live by her own rules, not society's. Sigma women have an almost radical independence from society's expectations, and they don't mind stepping off the well-worn path to follow their own beliefs. While most people are tethered to social norms, a Sigma woman moves through life with a quiet but firm defiance, embracing what truly matters to her and leaving behind the rest. She's not rebelling just to stand out. She's genuinely uninterested in fitting into roles or labels that don't resonate with her. She knows that following her own rules isn't always easy, but for her, it's the only way to live authentically. What makes her so intriguing and unsettling for some is that she doesn't seek permission or approval for her choices. She's the type to question traditions, ignore trends, and follow her own inner compass without any need for external validation. When she decides something, it's final, and she doesn't wait around for others to understand or support her. Whether it's in her career, her relationships, or even her lifestyle, she won't compromise on her values just to fit in or meet someone else's expectations. This unwavering independence can feel like a challenge to people who are deeply influenced by society's standards. They see her making bold, unapologetic choices and are reminded of all the ways they might be holding themselves back. Her approach to life is refreshing, but also intimidating because it's so rare to meet someone who is fully comfortable stepping outside of societal norms. She doesn't feel pressured to meet timelines, look a certain way, or tick off traditional milestones. Her only guide is her own set of principles, and she lets them shape her life without apology. It's this freedom that gives her a magnetic allure. She's living on her own terms, and she's proof that you don't need to fit in to be truly fulfilled. Number 9. Emotionally self-reliant. Sigma women are emotionally self-reliant in a way that can throw people off. While most individuals seek validation, reassurance, or emotional support from others, a Sigma woman doesn't rely on anyone else to feel whole. She's content in her own company, fully capable of managing her emotions without needing someone else to fill the gaps. This independence is often unsettling to others, especially in a society that teaches us to rely on friends, partners, or family for emotional fulfillment. People often expect that emotional dependence is a sign of closeness or connection, but for a Sigma woman, it's simply unnecessary. Her emotional self-sufficiency doesn't mean she doesn't care about relationships or that she isolates herself. It's that she's learned how to nurture and regulate her own emotions. She understands herself deeply and doesn't need constant external validation or support to feel secure. If she's having a bad day, she doesn't reach for someone else's sympathy or expect anyone to lift her spirits. She handles it on her own terms, and if she needs a break or time to recharge, she's more than happy to spend time alone. To her, solitude is not loneliness, it's peace. This ability to be content on her own without constantly seeking emotional input from others is both empowering and intimidating. For those who are used to the back and forth of emotional dependency, this kind of independence can feel foreign, even a little isolating. The idea that someone can be perfectly fine without needing constant emotional reinforcement can be uncomfortable, especially when so many people lean on others for a sense of security. A Sigma woman's emotional independence challenges the notion that connection and validation always need to come from external sources, and that's what makes her so powerful and, yes, a bit intimidating. Number 10. Fearless in embracing her flaws. Sigma women are refreshingly honest about their flaws, and they don't try to cover them up or play pretend. While most people put on a polished front, constantly worrying about looking perfect, Sigma women are different. They openly acknowledge where they fall short, what they struggle with, and they don't feel an ounce of shame about it. If you ask a Sigma woman what she thinks her weaknesses are, she'll tell you straight. And that kind of raw honesty? It's rare and, frankly, intimidating. This openness about her flaws isn't a tactic, it's just how she operates. A Sigma woman isn't interested in impressing anyone by pretending to be flawless, and she's not afraid of what people think if she shows up as she really is. She knows that no one has it all together, so why act like it? This level of self-acceptance means she's not constantly trying to mold herself to fit in, which makes others who are caught up in perfectionism feel a bit exposed. Her self-confidence is deeply rooted, not in a perfect facade, but in a real understanding of herself, strengths and weaknesses included. She knows exactly who she is, and she's at peace with it, even the parts she's still working on. And when you're around that kind of confidence, it forces you to take a good, hard look at how much of your own energy goes into hiding your imperfections. That's why people often find her intimidating. She's a walking reminder that authenticity doesn't require perfection. And let's be real, she probably laughs at her own quirks and missteps more than anyone. She's secure enough to laugh at herself because she's not chasing an impossible standard. She's got no time for pretending. She's too busy living. In a world that thrives on conformity, seeking approval, and living up to external expectations, the Sigma woman stands apart. She doesn't play by the rules written by society or dictated by the opinions of others. Her independence, emotional self-reliance, and unapologetic authenticity make her an enigma to most, challenging the norms that others so eagerly cling to. And while some may find her intimidating, it's not because she's trying to be, it's because she embodies a level of self-assurance, integrity, and strength that's so rare it's hard for most to grasp. She doesn't need validation from anyone, nor does she crave the spotlight. She is driven by her own inner compass, guided by her principles, and operates on her own terms. Her focus is laser-sharp, her integrity unshakable, and her presence impossible to ignore. To the world, this makes her intimidating. To herself, it simply makes her real. In a society that constantly demands more of us, the Sigma woman offers a refreshing reminder. True strength comes from within. She's not here to fit in or cater to the whims of others. She's here to live fully, authentically, and unapologetically. And while she might make others question their own choices, goals, and self-worth, that's not her concern. She's too busy living life on her own terms. And for anyone brave enough to keep up, they'll realize that being around a Sigma woman means learning to stand tall in your own truth, just like she does. If you've made it this far, you're probably beginning to see just how fascinating and empowering the Sigma woman really is. And if you want more insight into the traits, behaviors, and mindset that make her and people like her so extraordinary, don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button now and join a community where we dive deep into what sets the truly unique and unapologetically bold apart from the crowd. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Stay tuned, stay inspired, and remember, being yourself is the ultimate power move. Thanks for watching, Jules. See you in the next video. Bye for now, and stay blessed.